Horns up. Now, I recently did get one or two questions relating to the way you stand as a stage performer, as a guitar player sort of thing. It's a little hard for me to actually sort of explain it in all detail, but throughout this video I shall do the proper actual demonstrations so that you can get a slightly better way for you to make your own decisions off of that sort of thing. I will also talk a little bit about guitar strap height. Okay, so when it comes to positioning yourself, now everybody is different, but hopefully this video here should be a bit of a guide. Basically for me, I don't know exactly why, but I tend to prefer putting my right leg slightly forward, and it sort of helps me to keep the guitar sort of like facing forward sometimes, but other times I tend to stand square on where my guitar sort of hangs a bit more on where the guitar neck is pointing out at a slight angle. Now, and like I say, if I want to, I do find that if I want to, now where I'm a vocalist and guitarist as well, now sometimes when I'm up there at the mic, things do change a little bit, and other times when I want to sort of kick back in between, like if I'm in between vocal lines, in between like verses and whatnot, and then certain riffs on its own, sometimes when I step back up, providing there's plenty of room behind me, because that is another factor. But usually I'll try and sort of like just back off from the mic and just sort of play the riff sort of thing. And this is where I usually sort of like just sort of step back where my right leg is further forward, so that and it gives me a little bit of better support in playing the riff sort of thing, so it sort of feels comfortable. And of course sometimes when you're really going for it, when you really like you end up sort of like moving about, or particularly if you don't do vocals as well like I do, and you're sort of like all over the place, sort of depending on, and like I said, depending on the amount of room you got as well. But anyway, so in summary, for general positioning, usually standing square on is and slightly bending your knees as well, and keeping your back straight as well, like particularly if you use heavy guitars like Gibson Les Pauls or whatever. You've got to be careful of your back and that sort of thing, and we'll get into that in a bit. But when it comes to actual position and stance, usually I would say standing square on is about one of the best ways, but you've got to make adjustments from there. It's like everyone's built differently, so some people, like for me, I prefer to sort of stick my right leg slightly forward, and sometimes I might sort of like reverse my stance where my left leg's forward, which is what most people do actually, and usually the guitar neck is sort of this way round. I like it a lot of different ways. So for those of us that like to do guitar and vocals in thrash metal or whatever genre you're doing, basically what I use here, now this microphone is not turned on, but it's a good prop. It's a good prop to sort of like help you get more sort of like comfortable with. Now some of you might not sort of consider it too much, just stand up and just do your thing, and most of us do that. It's a great sort of prop, sort of, when it comes to positioning yourself in your stance, that sort of thing, the way you stand around it sort of thing. Now if I sort of like swing around with my right leg further forward like this, then of course the guitar is facing forward here. And another way, and it's like if you sort of like stand square on, or even put your left leg slightly more forward, then of course the guitar neck swings around this way a little bit more, as you can see there. So, and of course it's good to sort of be a little bit more animated sometimes, to sort of like move around sort of thing, and just sort of like find and it's sort of like trains your performance slightly, and it's like I say, it's a very simple sort of thing. Some people might not consider it, and that's fine. Some people are okay either way, but I did find it definitely helped me quite a bit. Yeah, one last thing I'd like to talk about here is with regards to how high you strap your guitar, how high or low sort of thing. Now, some people like it ultra low, a lot lower than this, and that's good for the rock guys sort of thing, you know. Personally, I don't really like that because, and of course, I can only talk about my own experiences here. It hurts a little bit. I can't sort of do technical stuff or fast, digging in sort of thing. Some people can because, and everyone's. Some people are taller. They got longer arms. If it works for you, do it. And the other way I see is people have their guitar strapped fairly high. That is usually good for the progressive and very, very technical players, technical from end to end kind of thing. Of course, now that again, that's not for me to argue with or anything like that, but it's not really my sort of style. I prefer something that's a bit more. It's got to be comfortable and natural. And again, if that is your sort of thing, that's your style, then and you know what you're doing, stick with it. Whatever you do. Now, whether you have it high or whether you have it low or mid-level or all points in between, make sure that it feels good to you, the individual player. Everyone's different, and the most important thing is do all you can to avoid injuries. Now, for me personally, mine's more of a sort of like mid-level sort of thing. It's like it's not too high. My playing is not that sort of technical. But at the same time, I don't like it too low because I've got to play fast. I've got to dig in there. I've got to, and although my ideas are simple, there's a certain amount of precision in the technique. So mid-level works best for me at my sort of height sort of thing, and it feels like I'm really. All that stuff and all like. So best of both worlds sort of thing, and it works great for thrash. Find your own range in there and it should be good. Hope all the pointers in this video help. Again, it's all subjective to the individual, so keep experimenting and making whatever adjustments you need to make until you get the results that you're looking for. If you're on YouTube, and please hit the links below and please subscribe and horns up.